Well, again, thanks everybody for coming today. This is exciting. We're glad you're here. We have some really great conversation planned. I'm excited for this. I've been excited since it was announced, this exciting merger. I can't wait to learn more about it. I have not had a chance to talk to either Martin or Don about this yet, so I'm excited to be here in between and hearing about this as we go forward. As we're here, if you have things you'd like to add to the conversation or just share your ideas and thoughts about this, we do have a hashtag on social media, and it's hashtag Martin and Don. Martin and Don. So there you go. Get that out there. Maybe take a nice picture of Martin and I sitting here and Don right next to me in my screen right here. We'll be all set. So as we start, I guess we all know about the big news, but we're going to learn a little bit more as we go through. And I don't know about everybody else, but I woke to this a little surprised and shocked. I didn't know this was coming when I heard it that day when it broke, and it was exciting. And I'm really interested in this whole process. And a little behind the scenes, and I don't know where Shauna went, but she's stolen my name badge, so now she's basically taken my identity, which is weird. But when I talked to Shauna that day and we were talking about this, I didn't even realize they had asked me to do this. I was just so excited to be talking about this with someone. And then Shauna said to me, but no, we'd like you to be part of it. I said, oh, well, sure, I can do that too. That sounds awesome. I would love to be part of that. So it's a company that I have participated and worked with for a very long time. And it's two products and two companies, I should say two companies, that I have a very long-standing experience with. If that looks like it's going to fall on me, just give some kind of signal. Martin will be fine. He's further away from it. But, I mean, I'm closer to it. So I guess we'll just jump right in. And enough of me talking, and we'll get to Martin and Don. And so we'll start here, and I'll go back and forth who we start with first with Martin and Don. So, Martin, I'll start with you for this. And if we could think back to the beginning, and then we'll work our way up to here. When you started your company, and obviously for both of you, you both started your companies for deeply personal reasons. And I'm wondering, and it's interesting because they're similar as well. So I wonder if you would share a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I think everyone gets into assistive technology for personal reasons. There's usually some kind of personal reason for getting into AT. When I was 12, my dad had a stroke, and it was a pretty serious stroke. He lost the ability to use his right arm and right leg. He lost his speech, and he couldn't read, he couldn't write, couldn't communicate, couldn't express himself. And it had a really profound impact on me. And in those days, in Northern Ireland, there was just no assistive technology. And as I got older, and I was always a geeky kid, always playing with computers. And as I got older, I started to make software to try to help. And I made software for, some of you guys might even remember this, but we made software for people with motor neuron disease, and we dabbled in AAC for a while. And then I met a lady in Scotland, in Glasgow College of Art, and she said she had one student with cerebral palsy, and she had about 200 students with dyslexia. And if I could do something for those students, it would really, I could reach a lot more people and really help them out. And that's how I started. And it's been a really fulfilling journey so far. And I still feel like we're only getting started.
That's awesome. That's great. Don, how about you? Same question.
Well, I think a lot of the people know that I grew up with dyslexia, and I became a reader in 9th grade. And for me, I always wanted to, help people with dyslexia. I had a teacher that really changed my life, Mrs. Tedesco, in eighth grade. She taught me to be a learner, and I think a lot of times learning precedes reading. And in 9th grade, I became a reader, and so that every day I think about my life and what it would be like if I never learned how to read. And I also think of all the students that we serve, and I'm sure we're going to get to this, because a big purpose of this whole merger is how do we reach more people and touch more people, and so for me, that's what we all want to accomplish.
Yeah. And in fact, that is we're done with the history now. Now we want to get right to the question I want to know anyway, which is really which is Don already kind of let it out a little bit. But, for the longest time, these are two companies that have provided supports in parallel. And some might say competition, but I'll say parallel. I like that word better. Because it's friendly and we're all...
Competition.
Yeah, all right, good, fair enough. Well, that went well for me, all right.
Most of my hairs are from competing. And I'm expecting my hair to turn.
So Don, I'll go back to you then. So what happened? How did this start, this process here?
Yeah, our executive team, we met, we had meetings for about a year and a half where we were saying, about every 5 years we get together and do long-term planning. And we basically we're in the midst of long-term planning, and the pandemic really hit us and say there's just so many people that we're not touching. And that became a bigger concern than pretty much anything else. Mm-hmm. And the whole issue, and I think what the pandemic really highlighted is the difference between the haves and the have-nots. Mm-hmm. And so that was the really impetus of having this conversation. And we were in a meeting one day, and we get offers all the time, and some one of my sons said, I wouldn't consider any other company except Nextel. And it kind of took me back. I mean, here's my competition, my lifelong competition. And I think it really made a statement about our respect for our competition. And I think our competition has been good for us. And now I think we're together in another mission, and we're very excited about that.
That's awesome. Martin?
Yeah, Don's right. I've admired Don and his company and his products for a very long time. Don Johnson customers absolutely love Don Johnson products. And we were sharing a technical problem. We had an accessibility problem that we both needed to solve, and it was the same problem. And we decided to get big about the thing and collaborate to fix it. And I think, as the technical team started to work together, and we overcame the problem, we realized I think we could do a lot more together and than apart. And I suppose that's where the dialogue really started. And you know what? It's been really good. And in fact, this week we released Snap and Read with some stuff from Equatio to help it read math better. So there's this. I mean, that's the start of what you should see from us. Not less products, all the same products, just better.
Yeah. Yes. You like that? That sounds great. Anything else you want to share about maybe what this looks like? That what will these companies be able to do by coming together that maybe was hard to do apart?
So, well, I don't want to do all the talking, but there's a couple of things that I think are really good. The first thing is innovation. So we've got two really good technical teams, and I think by pooling our resources, we can improve the products. I want to make it really clear to everyone, no products are going to disappear, right? All the products are staying, so that's super important. But what we want to do is improve the products and not make them more complicated or anything like that. We're going to keep them simple, but just make them better, try to reach more people. But the other thing is, it's really apparent to me, and it's been apparent to Don and Ruth and the team, that school districts tend to sort of be a TextHelp district or a Don Johnson district. They either have Co-Writer and Snap and Read or Read and Write, and very often big districts can't commit to be to one product because they have large groups of teachers, large cohorts of teachers who prefer one product over the other, and it's a real barrier. It's a block to getting it widely deployed. So what we want to do is come together and make it possible for school districts to just have all of the tools without having to choose and without it costing more, just to have all of the tools. And I think that's going to be better.
All right. Now we're going. Now we're set. Don, I'll go to you for the next question. I'll give Martin a break. I think it was
Okay.
Martin's cue that he was like, all right, I'm talking a lot. I wanted to just hang out. I'll go to you. I'll go to you, Don.
If I could do that same question, Mike,
Please,
because
of course.
the thing that there's a lot of things that I'm excited about, but the thing I'm most excited about is how do we innovate into the future?
Mhm.
And I could just tell you, my youngest son is in charge of product development. He is really exciting. He's working with Ryan, and Martin mentioned our mutual Google problem that they solved together, and these two development teams are really have incredible synergy, and you're going to see incredible things come out of them in the future. And I'm a development person. Everybody knows that, and I'm particularly very excited about what we could accomplish. And this isn't like 1 + 1 = 2. This is 1 + 1 = 4 or 5. And so there's synergies that I never thought we would ever have, and I'm excited about that.
That's great. If I could tag on to that, Don, and I'll start this one with you too. With that synergy and thinking about that, how do you think this changes things for us in the group here, the educators here and the students we serve?
Well, I think you'll see innovation in the future.
Mhm.
I think you'll see us reaching more people. I mean, even these school districts that are either a Don Johnson or a Text Help district, I think, the one thing that people always talk to me about is how do I expand my reach within my own school district? And so our goal is to really do that, and to reach the 70, 80% of the schools that have nothing. And so our goal is to make assistive technology just automatic, like a spelling checker.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Anything to add to that? Think about the changes that we might see and the students we support.
Well, I think first of all, I'd like to say there's a load of things that won't change. So the relationships that you have with Text Help people and Don Johnson people, that won't change. So all of the people are going to still be there. In fact, we need to grow the teams because we need to reach a lot more people. So that's one really good thing that's going to stay the same. The people are all going to be here. The products are all going to be here. I do think that reaching more people is incredibly important. We've actually got almost exactly the same number of customers, and we share about 400 districts that have both products from both companies. But as Don said, we're really only reaching 20% of kids, and we really want to grow that. And we want to provide choice for everyone and reach as many kids as possible. And another thing that's really important to me, and actually I think everyone's on board with this, the kids that we started to help 15 years ago in the US, they've graduated, they've probably gone to university and they're going into the workplace, and workplace is not ready, it's not equipped for them. So we're really working hard to try to change the mindsets of employers so that they understand that probably, 10% of their employees struggle with literacy and don't want to talk about it. They're not going to put their hand up and say, I'm dyslexic. And it's a kind of career limiting thing. So we want to try to make the same sort of availability of easy to use AT in the workplace as well. That's something that we've made some progress with in the UK, and we're just getting started here.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I'll give you a break for a second. I'll go to Don. Martin let the cat out of the bag for this question before when he said it, that none of the products will go away. Right. So that part's out. So we got that information. But Don, I'll ask you, does this mean we'll see some things merge together or change, or was everything just going to stay as is?
Well, we're certainly going to move things into the future in the best interest of customers. But I think Martin is basically, and probably Martin is a better person. He's been looking at this issue, and he's probably a better person to answer that question. But
hold on, let me turn to my right then. Hold on.
I can tell you
Hey,
what my
Martin.
answer.
Okay, so there's one thing that I think that's an obvious thing. People can't use co-writer prediction on Windows today. So everyone is asking us, can we get co-writer prediction in Windows or get co-writer prediction into read and write? So that's definitely something that I think is something that we can do. And the text leveling thing, having text leveling available on Windows, that's something that's probably going to be possible. We definitely don't want to take any products away, because we know that people love their products, and sometimes a single simple product is the right solution for a kid. So we want to keep all of the products there, and but just improve them where possible. So there's a lot of stuff that we're working on, particularly around math, and so you're going to see more math technology cropping up in Don Johnson products. And yeah, you know what? It's going to be really good. There's a lot of very cool stuff. I don't want to talk about it too much, but there's a lot of very cool stuff that's in the pipeline.
Well, that's unfortunate, because I'm just going to keep asking about it, so that's going to be really uncomfortable. So I'd go to the bar and get another drink, because we're just going to keep talking about it.
Yeah, my son Kevin, who's in charge of product development for Don Johnson, just called me. I should have put him on the phone.
Yeah, held him up. We could have had a four-way conversation here. And kind of to build on what Martin just said, and Don, I'll ask you this idea of choice, and the idea of an individual using the tools that are working for them. Practically speaking, how is that going to work if someone wants to buy a Texthelp product and a Don Johnson product? What does that look like?
Well,
I
think there'll be packages that are put together, and people will have the opportunity to really make choices. And I think it'll be up to us to really educate people as to, what's going to work for people. There's obviously a lot of overlap, and so the overlap will be something that it doesn't matter, but there'll be certain things that people will gravitate toward one product or another. But the important thing, they'll get choice, and I think that'll be a real important factor in all this.
Yeah, I think so too. Do you want to add anything to your statement? I just built on what you had said before. Do you want to add anything about that idea of choice and what that looks like practically?
Yeah, I think so. For people who want a Don Johnson product and a Texthelp product, for the next 90 days, at least, you're going to have to get the Don Johnson products from Don Johnson and the Texthelp products from Texthelp. But we're moving towards a stage where we'll be able to be selling each other's products, and then, as Don says, working towards getting a bundle together so that if you buy a kind of literacy support bundle, it will include, probably Read and Write and Snap and Read and Co-Writer all in one bundle. And probably for Windows users, there'll be, ultimately Co-Writer prediction and text leveling in the Windows product. So
Excellent.
That's the direction of travel.
Okay. I feel like that's as far as Martin's going to give us right now. I just feel it sitting 2 feet from him. I feel like that's about as much as I'm going to get, so that's fine. Don, I'll ask you, how was it? How's it been bringing the companies together? What was the process like? Was there anything that you didn't expect going in?
I guess getting to know the Texthelp people, these people are incredibly committed, passionate, and competent. And it's been a real joy. And I was there yesterday. I don't know whether people realize that I had to come home because I have COVID, but I really was looking forward to meeting the Texthelp people, and I'm just really feeling bummed that I didn't get a chance to do that. So the most important thing is that just the opportunity of the people that I've worked with Texthelp, and I'm going to be on the board of directors of Texthelp, and I've met with Dave, who's the chairman of the board. He is equally passionate. He has a lot of business experience, and he's doing this for all the right reasons. And I'm real excited to be in that leadership role, and I'm real excited to just, I'm 71 years old. What keeps me working is the relationships what I have with people, and I'm looking forward to continuing those kind of relationships.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And
Martin, anything? Oh, go ahead, Don.
Too, that it's just a real gas to have these long-term relationships with people.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about you, Martin? Anything about the process as you went into it that you didn't expect or surprised?
First of all, it's been the Don Johnson guys have been absolutely incredible to work with. Sean is worried about this thing blowing down on top of me. The Don Johnson guys have been absolutely incredible to work with. It's a tough thing to go through being, the kind of legal process of it's tough, but the team have been brilliant, and Don has been, like Sean, real open-minded leadership, and the whole team. We've been working with Ruth and Ben and Kevin and Trish, and it's been really good working with them. You spend like 20 years in competition, and you build up this bias, and you sort of think, that they've got horns,
right.
and then you get to know each other, and we share the same passions, trying to do the same thing, trying to fix the same problems together. So it's been really, really good. I've really enjoyed it. In fact, but our whole executive team has nothing but good things to say about the DJ team. It's been fantastic.
That's excellent. If we could, I'll stay with you, Martin, to ask you about the plans going forward for growth. What does that look like? The vision.
Super ambitious.
Oh, that's great.
Within education in the U.S., I was saying earlier, we've got about 20%. We're working with about 20% of districts. Within the next 3 or 4 years, I'd like to be at 50% of districts, and go much beyond that. We really want to get to make a meaningful change in society. We're really trying to make a change. And then in workplace, we want to try to do the same thing in workplace that it's taken 20 years to do in education, but we want to try to get the same thing happening in workplace. And also, we're a global organization now, so we've got businesses in Denmark and Sweden and Norway, and we want to continue to grow, but we have got a goal to reach, or to kind of positively impact the literacy and understanding of 1 billion people by 2030. Wow. And so that's going to mean, yeah. So that's going to mean expanding to Asia, because there aren't enough people. So we're probably going to be doing some work in Africa and Asia as well. And I think Don and I share some passions about leaving a legacy in some developing countries as well, which is actually, Don, would you like to talk about that?
Oh, I've been involved in schools in Kenya and Tanzania, and I was talking to Martin about that. Martin was very interested in what I was doing and in being a part of that, and I'm really excited to bring technology and bring support to schools that are really in very poor areas of the world, and giving them the opportunity of getting an education. And our tools work really differently in there. The support that we give them is real different for those students as opposed to the students in the States. And being able to hear and being able to for the repetition that they get by hearing stories and so forth is just really helpful. And so I just look forward to working together on that.
That's excellent. And as you could hear from the large roar from the 1 billion people by 2030, clearly that taps into something the group is passionate about. What can we do as a community to help us get there?
So if you share our goals, and I think they're laudable goals, I think the vision is a good thing for society. Mm-hmm. If you share our goals, just help us spread the news, help us spread the message, help us get these tools in front of more kids, and help us prepare the workplace so that the kids who successfully graduate and go into the workplace, so that the tools are still there for them.
Yeah. Don, anything to add about that? How can we work together to help this?
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that.
Excellent. Well, go ahead.
I could assure you that there's 3 things that I think are really going to be really important moving forward. Number one is we have to innovate products into the future and just keep innovating. And I'm so confident we can do that. And the people out there, when we ask you to give us feedback, and we consider ourselves a customer directed development company, and so you can continue to help with that. The other people, reaching more people is a huge challenge, and I can assure you, by bringing these two companies together, we have a lot more people and incredible people that have real skills in that. But we need you all to help in that and spread the word about assistive technology. And I'm speaking to the choir because I know you guys do that. And but I think that's an important thing. The third thing is a personal challenge that I'm taking up, and I want to work on the belief system of the people out there, the educators out there, and our students. And I'm committed to build a set of stories about successes that our students have, about adults, adults that are using the technology, and to change the perception that this is a disability to it's a different ability, and that it's okay. It's okay to use assistive technology. It's okay to need a spelling checker, and it's okay to need a text reader. And so that's going to be a personal mission that I have, and I wanted to spend more time talking to Martin about that by being there, and because I know he'll be on board, but I just wanted to make sure that. But I will be creating stories of successful people, and so look forward to that.
Excellent. That's awesome. That's awesome. As we kind of wrap up.
Wow.
Now that's what life is all about. I mean, you saw what just happened, right? As we wrap up, I would like to, what you I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to you. Shauna's putting something next to your head. You're participating as well. I would like to propose a toast to these two fine companies. Good luck. We are excited.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Cheers, Mike.
Cheers.